This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Before we jump into today's episode, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge what's happening in Minneapolis. The recent shootings by federal agents during immigration operations, including the deaths of both Renee Good and Alex Preddy, are tragic and unacceptable. We here at Girls Gone Hallmark stand with the Minneapolis community, calling for accountability, transparency, and an end to this violence. Our hearts go out to the families and everyone affected. We know that these are heavy times, and we're very grateful to have you here. And our goal is to offer you some lightness in the form of escapist podcast movie reviews. On today's episode, we are discussing the season 1 finale of Ripple, the bonus. All episodes of Ripple are currently available to stream on Netflix. Join us over on Instagram. We're Girls Gone Hallmark. You can find our regular weekly schedules over there, the latest Hallmark news, other fun stuff from us. You know what's on Instagram. You know what people share. Come on over. Join us.
Hey, we also have a Patreon. We would love for you to come and give us a listen over there. Patreon.com/Megan and Wendy. Patreon, if you don't know, is a paid subscription platform. We charge $5 a month for 4 brand new episodes that are not Hallmark related. We'd love to have you. And you get your first week free when you come over. So come and listen to as many episodes as you want, and then hopefully you'll decide to stay.
This week's episode over on Patreon is our approved episode where we talk about items we're currently using and loving. None of that is sponsored. But my favorite part about approved episodes is we also deep dive into what is in our TikTok shop carts and the things that are currently influencing us, which is always a good time.
I love that episode.
And on our next approved episode next month, I'm going to have my very first TikTok shop order reviews.
Ooh,
because I'm 3 items
thrilled.
deep now. The floodgates have been opened.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
It really is.
I know. I just click, click. And usually arrives pretty quickly.
The in-app shopping experience really was revelatory on the behalf of the overlords over at TikTok.
Yeah. Before I share the synopsis, I have a question. Are you glad that we are finally finishing this series?
Oh, glad? Like, I'm not glad it's over. Are you glad it's over?
No, I enjoyed it so much. Mm-hmm. Before I'll jump in, I was having dinner with my parents over the weekend, and we were talking about shows we were watching. It was our very own pop culture club at dinner.
Yeah.
That's a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
And we talked about Ripple, and my stepmom was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was very Hallmarky. And I was like, yeah, it was made for Hallmark originally, you know? And she's like, yeah. And it was so curious that comment has like stayed with me, because my takeaway from the show is it was very not Hallmarky and much deeper and thoughtful and resonating to me as a viewer, very heavy at times. So my whole point is I am kind of glad to see the season end, because I just don't know how much more I could.
Oh, yeah, you needed a break.
Yeah.
It was heavy. Like you, I don't find it to be particularly Hallmarky because we're so deeply immersed in the Hallmark world. But I think maybe compared to the vast majority of the other content, it maybe skews more Hallmark than, say, HBO Max.
Yeah.
You know, it is kind of a tough watch, though. I mean, it's heavy. I have a lot of thoughts about this episode and where we ended the season, though.
Me too. I was just thinking, I'm like, I would love like a whiteboard and to draw like a Venn diagram of like, here's how it's Hallmark and here's how it's not.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like I need a whole like dissertation on this series. Anyway, let's get into episode 8, the bonus, with a synopsis. Here it goes. As the festive season gets underway, the bar's regulars reflect on their journeys and the strings of fate that drew them all together.
Our final news and notes for this Ripple season. This episode is directed by Lisa Soper. She has 8 directing credits total and also directed last week's episode 7. Her past work includes shows like Riverdale and Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin. For our Hallmark listeners, a quick reminder that she's behind the upcoming True Justice movies, True Justice 2, Eye for an Eye, and True Justice 3, Lost Love.
Hallmark side note, where are those movies? They haven't been announced yet, right? For the schedule?
They have not been announced. Of course, we talked about this last week. The rumor is they're coming to Hallmark Plus, but that is fully unsubstantiated. Well, the first Hallmark mystery of the year was announced, though. Did you see that?
I did see that. It's a Nellie Knows Mysteries.
Oh,
movie.
that's right.
Which I'm excited about because I enjoyed the first one. It was slightly different than the other mysteries.
I'll be honest, no memory of it.
Really?
None.
I mean, I don't remember the details, but I remember the cast.
I remember the cast too, but Kevin Smith and Pascal Hutton, great. I might need to rewatch the first one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would prefer a third Cases of Mystery Lane over
Oh, me too.
Nellie Knows Mysteries, but that's me. That is me. Back to Ripple. Episode 8 was written by Michelle Giannusa. Michelle is the creator of this show and has worked. I was looking at IMDb because I know other episodes were written by other people, but on IMDb, she is credited with all 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand the details of writing credits when it comes to episodes in a series.
Sure, me either.
I was hoping you could share some clarity.
Well, but because
you can't.
I don't think it's the same everywhere, right? She has a team of writers, but perhaps does the bulk of the writing and therefore earns the writing credit, but there is a writing staff who contributes.
Yeah.
I think if you think of shows like, what's the show that Elizabeth Lame wrote on? A Million Little Things. Like, she had a writing credit. And so I think sometimes they'll be like, hey, this is your script. You write the script. And then the writer's room will kind of come together and polish it.
Got it.
I just think it's probably different on every show. That's all I know. Someone school us. Drop into our email. Hey, it's hello@girlsgonehallmark.com.
We got a new email.
The old one will still work, but we're working on transitioning over.
So tell me again what it is. Hello at girl, because I don't honestly don't even know how to access it. I know you gave me instruction, and I'll go over there eventually and figure it out. But the only email address is hello@girlsgonehallmark.com.
The only one that people need at the moment, yes.
Okay, cool.
Our regular cast is all back this week. We do get a few additional appearances, including Jake Epstein as Jack and Phil Luzzi as Victor. Let's take a quick break and come right back with our first impressions. Hey, Wendy, what's your first impression of the season finale of Ripple?
Well, Jake Epstein walks in and my Hallmark brain goes, oh, I know you. Such a pleasant surprise.
Peter Benson.
Yeah, exactly. It was the Peter Benson phenomenon. Totally.
Yeah. My first impression is I'm going to need a campaign to renew season 2 of Ripple right now.
How should we do that?
I don't know, but I genuinely think we should launch it.
Well, maybe we should.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to. I would love a season 2. I'm just like, my brain is just processing like, okay, well, how should we make this happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have some thoughts, but stay tuned, folks. You should be following us on Instagram. Hey.
Yeah.
What did you like about this episode?
Coming into the finale episode, I said it last week. I was like, oh, I hope it's forward progress on healing and hope. And I think we got that. So I was pleased with that. I also was happy it wasn't like this big plot swing, like it wasn't a huge cliffhanger. If this is where it ends, I can be satisfied with that.
Interesting.
I mean, it left a lot of, and I'll talk about it in my wishes.
Sure.
The stuff I wish that they had closed the loop on. But I think if this is all we get, I can reflect back on it and be like, that was a great one season show.
I agree with you. It was a great one season show. I liked the tone of this episode. Like you said, I'm glad this was not last week's episode. Nobody wanted to end like that. I do think that the tone of the final episode is very hopeful. We talked last week about how that is their goal for this show, to kind of be a little light in the world. And these people are for each other, which I love. Again, I do have plenty of wishes, but one thing in particular I liked to kick off this list, I liked this first full circle moment we get with Ellis. They are choosing to love themselves. I love that moment where they're in that shop and they connect with that dude. And they're like, cool camera. And he's like, yeah, from me to me. And then, of course, that comes full circle with Ellis buying themselves a camera with their Christmas bonus, which brings us all the way back to the first episode where Ellis's friend and fellow artiste basically sells out to the man, takes an L, and is like, I'm going corporate. And Ellis is still hanging on to this hope of making it as an artist. And then, of course, we get a glimpse that that's a potential in their future when they meet Victor. And I appreciated that. We don't know a lot about Ellis when this show starts. And Ellis has really served as a supporting character throughout this season. And so to see them end in that hopeful way and not just in a, I stuck around for Nate and that paid off, was nice.
Yeah, you know what's funny is, in my eyes, Ellis is one of the main characters of this show. And I know they aren't promoted as such, but I really enjoyed the character of Ellis and their storyline. And talk about closed loop. And covered a lot of territory in one season, just on their storyline alone. You know, like a reconnecting with a romantic person and then that kind of ending. And I gotta tell you, I love that scene between Ellis and the patron Victor. Just the whole conversation. They have that monologue basically about like love and love ending and what do you learn from it. I thought that was really good. And I was just so happy that this Victor guy's like, oh, hey, I'm working on this project. I love these photos. Are you interested? Yay. It was like a total win for Ellis.
Yeah, like you're proud of them.
Yeah. And a win after a hard season of their lives. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love that Nate and Chris reconnect. And you can clearly see Chris misses him. Nate's excited to see her at this holiday party. The party ends. They have this moment. Chris is like, I'm all in. I'm here for you. I want to do this with you. And I am heartbroken when Nate wants to put things on pause. I get it. I absolutely get it. And this is fully side note and maybe my own baggage that I'm projecting onto this storyline. But as someone who personally has dealt with a potential life-ending illness, and when you deal with like your own mortality and you don't want to bring people into that because what if something gets worse or happens, I fully understand his position on it. But I also love how Walter comforts Chris and says that, you know, Nate's going to get there. He's going to realize that he wants to move forward with a person. It's more fun, et cetera, et cetera. I just loved how all those pieces like work together. Truly, these people are there for each other. I cannot stress like how much that was so enjoyable to watch.
I hated, of course, the moment where Nate tells Chris he needs to take a step back. I was heartbroken for her because you think finally they're getting it together. She's saying everything out loud to him. And I, from a different perspective, understand Nate not wanting to drag Chris along, probably not wanting to do the work of fostering a new relationship when he really just needs to focus on himself. But the letter that he writes to her about the plant and the metaphor about the plant to her was real sweet and definitely left things open in a positive direction for the two of them. It definitely wasn't a closed door. It felt like there were opportunities for that relationship to exist in the future, but made me sad.
I loved the ending with the plant and the metaphor and the voiceover storytelling. We hear what was written in the letter. I loved all that. And I definitely think there is an open door there. I don't think Nate was motivated by hurting her, by telling her we have to pause. I think it's fair that a person who's dealing with an illness like this says, like, hey, I have to focus inward.
Oh, I think it's totally fair too. I don't think his goal was to hurt her.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nate and Claire, the other woman in his life, Claire gets a little bit of redemption, a little bit of a life beyond her role as Nate's future ex-wife and mother of his child. I like that she and Nate come to kind of a moment of peace with each other. She chooses to get the help she needs for what I can only describe as financial impulsivity.
Oh, that's so good. I'm so glad that you shed some clarity on that, because as I was watching it, I was like, what does she think is wrong that she needs help with? Is it spending money? Is it getting wrapped up in scams or what? What is it exactly?
Yeah, and it's not 100% clear, but that's where I took it. And I think the need to lie about it and just kind of get in too deep, but also makes good choices with the money that she does have. I like that. I feel like they are in a good place for each other. When she's like having her little solo night and they pan to the candle, and I was like, what are we doing here, people? But I'm glad that it was just, a little fire and led to a meet cute with her and Jake Epstein.
A little fire that leads to a meet cute.
I mean, how else would you describe that moment? They're all fine. Oh. She's like, wasn't really a big fire, just a lot of smoke. Like the building has not burnt down.
Yeah.
It just seems to be more of a nuisance than anything else. And she gets to go have a little mini date with Jack.
Yeah, I loved it. And I love that because early on, Claire was like this sort of made out to be a villain a little bit. Like she wasn't completely, I wasn't rooting for her. Mm-hmm. I felt sorry for her because Nate was like so hard on like, I'm ending this marriage. She's come a long way in 8 episodes for me personally. Mm-hmm. Part of me still feels like icky that it's Arya's ring that is sold and then people benefit from it, because that's a loss for Arya. And maybe that all comes back around at some point in the future, but who knows?
That's funny that you say that, because I was, of all the loose threads, of all the things that really don't come full, so much does come full circle in this episode, but a lot doesn't. A lot is still left in the open. That's one of those big pieces that Arya never knew, and Nate and Chris don't know the origin of that ring. And I was thinking, I think that's just like life. Like that's going to be one of those things that how would she ever know at this point?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So that's just going to be one of those things that maybe remains unknown only to the viewer. Really, we're the only people who know the truth about that ring.
Yeah, it's like that, what's that Taylor Swift song about, like the invisible
string?
Yeah, invisible string. That's it. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Walter's arc is probably my favorite of the scene. I love that he goes from patron to participant with all these friendships, investing in the bar. I love the scene between him and Nate in the back office. Nate invites him to be a business partner, not just an investor. Mm-hmm. I loved all that. I did think it felt appropriate, but also kind of a little bit weird. Like, oh yeah, you're now a business partner, but you're going to go on this trip to Napa to learn, like so quickly, like him leaving as soon as it happens. But I love that story of like now he's going to pursue something else that he's never known about, but he'll be back. I loved Walter. Yeah, that he has this next phase of purpose. Like this whole season was about healing from the loss of Brenda, and now he has his next thing.
Yeah. What's your read on Tara and Sylvie in this episode?
I think it's a fine relationship. Maybe I can write off that Sylvie's busy during a busy holiday season and Tara feels a little forgotten.
Yeah.
I do wish there was more there. I don't know. I'm not like rooting for Tara and Sylvie. I think they're fine. I'm rooting for Tara. I love Tara.
Yeah. Yeah, same. You know, when Sylvie was blowing her off, I got a different read on that situation. And it was Ellis who was like, why don't you just go to her house? Right? Sylvie seemed thrilled to see Tara when Tara shows up. And I think this storyline is more about Tara making room in her life for somebody new. She's still processing the idea of moving on and changing the shape of her life. And I think that's really what it's about. Agree with you that I'm more interested in Tara than Tara and Sylvie.
Yeah. I just one little, I talked all season about the one thing that like I feel like I have to like look for and what's the thread that ties it all together. I really did enjoy the bonus being the thing that ties it all together. And we're talking, of course, about like literal money as bonuses, but we're also bonuses that,
well, like Walter doesn't just get to be an investor, he gets to be a partner. That's more than he could have hoped for in that regard.
yeah, it's like all these unexpected little benefits, little gifts, right? And I think they already used the gift as a previous title. So yeah, I just loved it. I'm so glad that for me, it had moved away from like trying to find this thing that connects it all together and instead of just like seeing it and not having to decipher it. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's wraps up my likes.
Well, I think we may be in the same vein with our wishes. For me, it's a lot of loose ends. I want to start with Arya.
Yep.
She has the biggest question mark over her head for me. At the end of the episode, she and John are not in a good place. I kind of was hoping that we might get a reveal of John's infidelity, but she doesn't know anything about that. John seems to very much have moved on from that. That phone call he gets, it seems like someone's calling him to let him know that Desi is changing offices. Is that how you read that? And
Yeah.
he's like, I don't care, we're not talking. But of course, Arya overhears the part of the conversation that he's not saying particularly complimentary things. Then, of course, via Tara's playlist, she finds the artist Orion with the tattoo that matches the photo. I kind of had hoped we would get a little more information about these things. That being said, if we are getting a season 2, this is great. We need things to lead us into it. If we're not, just poor Sydney Agadong. I'm like, what is she going on tour? Does she have a father who's what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly my number one wish. There's too many things left unexplained or underexplained. You know, all the stuff, like, this is the first time I was like, oh, maybe John's infidelity came from a place. I am not excusing his behavior by any means, but maybe his marriage with Arya was very difficult in terms of like taking care of her and protecting her. And maybe his thing with Desi was easy and fun and opposite of what he had with Arya. And I don't know. I just need way more context.
Yeah.
In the Arya storyline, in the Arya and John storyline. So if they do a season 2, like you said, like, here we go. Here's where we're going to lead with it. So
I'm also a little bit surprised that Walter and the Lisa Gay Hamilton character never connect. They're in close proximity. They're in the same space.
yeah,
but
they're circling each other, basically.
quite literally. But they have so many instances that bring them very close together, both metaphorically and physically, and nothing happens. And so again, I think I'm okay with that at a hint of what could be. I liked that we saw them finally occupy the same space. But again, I would have loved for them to have met.
Yeah, something. Right?
Something.
Connects somehow. Yeah.
Right? It's not accidental that we continue to see her, and she has this whole like needing to find that ornament storyline and all of that.
Right.
And then the rest of it, you know, it's like, what's going to happen with Nate's treatment? Ian is one of the stars of the show, so we assume it's going to be successful, but I don't know the big picture that the writers have planned for this show, and I don't know the circumstances under which Nate and Chris might end up together. So I have questions about that as well.
Yeah, you hit all my wishes. The only other thing I would want to add is the uncertainty of Chris's future professionally.
Oh, you're great.
Okay, fine. Be part of like the musical therapy group or whatever. But I think at her core, Chris is a music manager, I don't know, producer. I don't think she should just abandon that. I don't know why she's at this like crossroads because Aria bounced. She's obviously very talented at her job and at finding other talent. So why wouldn't she just continue to pursue that?
I think they're hinting that she will when her old boss is at her house. I think for some reason that led me to believe that she's going to get back in the mix, not with her old job, but just this music therapy thing is just something to give her purpose in the meantime. I hope. Because yes, she's very talented. How about some Did You See That?
I have a few, actually.
Oh, let's hear it.
You know, not the typicals, but just some funny things. The scene where Tara is in her apartment and she's on the phone with Sylvie. Did you see that Tara's Christmas tree was a dress form?
No.
Like the bodice of a dress form was the top of the tree, and then the tree was the skirt.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so interesting, but I was like, how does this relate to Tara? What is Tara? Do we know anything about her background?
Yeah, great question.
I can't recall offhand. Like, is she in fashion? Is she what? Like, what's the choice here with the tree? I just thought it was interesting. A couple other things. Nate tossing Rebecca's hair clip after Alice finds it in their pocket, I thought was so funny.
Yeah, right into the like I'll keep track of it, and then throws it into the dish bin.
Moving on. Yeah. I enjoyed that. And then the last thing is when Chris tells Nate she's all in, as a Gilmore Girls person myself, maybe you clocked it. I mean, that line carries so much emotional weight if you are a fan of Luke and Lorelai and know what that means between the two of them. That's just one of those like phrases that should be trademarked. I wonder if it is by Gilmore Universe somehow.
Yeah, that was great. I heard that as well when she was saying that. I have a Did You See That from one Marcy T. House.
Oh.
Who replied to us on Threads.
Stop.
And here's what I love about this. First of all, she was replying to, there was a thread about catch up with our Ripple reviews. And let me read Marcy's reply. She says, ladies, now I know I'm supposed to say that the toilet paper should go over, not under.
Stop it.
So pause right there. She listened to the episode.
Oh my God. Because we fully had a conversation about it last week. Oh my God. And I'm dying.
That she listened? Can you believe it?
I'm such a huge, if she's listening to this, I'm such a huge fan. I need her way more on Hallmark. I just think she's incredible.
Then goes on to say, but quite honestly, I've never understood why it mattered. It literally works either way. It's a preference, right? Why must humanity have such divides? To which I replied, I said, Marcy, we're honored that you listened and responded. You're such a gem on Ripple. And you make an excellent point. If only toilet paper arguments were our biggest issue. And then she responds, thank you, obviously. And she says, and FYI, I live in Vancouver, BC. Because if you recall, we had talked about leaving the United States. And I didn't know where.
She had talked about it on Threads, right?
Yes, many, many years ago. And so she left and has never looked back. So she's a Canadian now. So, Hi, Marcy. I feel like we need to induct her into our unofficial girl gang.
Yes, ma'am.
Just going to call her my friend from here on out.
That's amazing. That brings me so much joy.
Doesn't it? I know.
I'm so I feel like flush in the face. I'm so happy about it.
I know. Me too.
Yay.
Me too. Thank you for listening.
Well, I got to say, I really enjoyed this series this season. I pray that it gets a season 2 I mean, I see on Reddit, I see on TikTok people talking about it all the time when people are like, "Hey, give me a show to watch." I always see Ripple suggested. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it too. I would be thrilled to hear a season 2 announcement. And I had fun reviewing it. And it was kind of nice watching it week to week, just like parsing it out one episode at a time.
Yeah. Agree.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. Come back for more Hallmark and Hallmark adjacent reviews from us. And if you love this podcast, we'd love it if you dropped into the Apple Podcast app and left us a 5-star review. We'll be back next time. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.